Apo, Murie Zimbabwe. Inside the barracks, how Mnangagwa is turning Zimbabwe's army into a family business. Murie Zimbabwe, pull up a chair, get comfortable, put the phone down. Actually, no, keep the phone up because you are going to want to share this one immediately. Because today we are not talking about the streets. We are not talking about parliament. We are not talking about t-shirts printed in Johannesburg, though that story is still very much alive. But we are going inside the barracks. We always say that in Zimbabwe, whoever controls the gun controls the game. You want proof? November 2017, Matanks on the streets, Robert Mugabe, 37 years in power, the men who survived everything, gone in 48 hours. Not because of an election, not because of a protest, because the military moved. That is the lesson that every Zimbabwean leader carries in the back of their mind. Every single day they sit in that chair at State House. And right now, right at this very moment, President Emerson Mnangagwa is doing something that no Zimbabwean leader has done quite so openly before. He is rebuilding the army, not to defend the borders, not to protect the citizens. He is rebuilding it to protect himself. And the evidence, Murie Zimbabwe, the evidence is hiding in plain sight. So, a retired Lieutenant General has spoken. General Winston Sigauke Mapranga. He has said that every soldier is thinking, but is too afraid to say it out loud. He has said what every soldier in Zimbabwe is thinking, but and today we are going to break it all down. The parachute promotions, the family business, the demotions, the moral wounds, and what all of it means for Bill number 3 and the future of your democracy. Let's go. Tinenyaya Tapfumanei, the parachute general. And it. Let us start with the men at the center of this military restructuring. Lieutenant General Asha Walter Tapfumanei. Remember that name. Tapfumanei retired from the military as a brigadier general. He left the army. He was done. He went to the CIO, the Central Intelligence Organization, where he became Deputy Director General. And then he went even further, building and running the Forever Associates Zimbabwe Network, FAZ, which the United States Treasury Department sanctioned him for in March 2024 for leading the campaign to disrupt the 2023 electoral process through his leadership of ruling party-affiliated groups. The Americans put him on a sanctions list for alleged voter intimidation, for allegedly being personally involved in kidnappings. That is the man's record. And what did Mnangagwa do? He brought Tapfumanei back, a man who had left the military as a brigadier general, recalled him, promoted him, and made him commander of the entire Zimbabwe National Army. From retired brigadier general to lieutenant general and army commander in one move, jumping over officers who never left, officers who stayed through the hard times, woke up every morning in those barracks, polished their boots, saved the country, waited for their turn in the queue, jumped in one political appointment. Zimbabwe, in any professional military in the world, this is the kind of thing that breaks morale, not an enemy fire, not budget cuts. This, when a young captain or a major who has given 15 years of faithful service watches someone get parachuted over their head because of political connections, something dies inside them. General Mapranga calls it a moral wound, and that is exactly what it is. A wound you cannot see, a wound that does not bleed, but a wound that festers. So the statement issued by retired General Winston Sigauke Mapranga, it's on X right now. So Tapfumanei's elevation to army chief is the most explicit signal yet of how thoroughly the balance of power has shifted, formalizing the entry of Mnangagwa's most politicized loyalist into the heart of military command. And it gets worse. Many regular officers view individuals who move between the CIO and the military with coldness, often seeing them as informants rather than traditional soldiers. So you have just made the men that your own soldiers do not fully trust the commander of the entire army. Why? Not because of merit, because of loyalty to one man. And then we get to the story that has Zimbabwe talking from Harare to Bulawayo to the diaspora. Sean Mnangagwa, the president's own son, promoted on the 29th of April 2026, just days ago, from major to lieutenant colonel. Now, I want to be fair. Sean is not merely a beneficiary of nepotism on paper. He is a trained soldier whose career has involved programs in Zimbabwe, China, Russia, and Mozambique. So let us not pretend the man has never seen a barracks. He has done the training, he has put in some work, but here is where it stops being about merit and starts being about power. Sean is currently serving in the Presidential Guard and is part of his father's close security team. As a lieutenant colonel, he does not just oversee administration. He controls the tactical deployment of elite troops whose primary mission is the protection or the removal of the head of state. Read that again. Or listen to that again, since video. The president's own son now controls the unit responsible for protecting or removing the head of state, his own father. That is not a promotion. That is a security architecture. That is a coup-proofing written in military rank insignia. And constitutional lawyers are screaming about this. Professor Love Momadoko, the same man who was reportedly assaulted at a constitutional discussion, said directly, President Mnangagwa is not legally powered to do what he has done. The promotion is null and void. He must leave that to his VPs. Null and void. Those are serious legal words. Maduk argued that a president facing a conflict of interest, like promoting his own son, is effectively in the same position as one who is absent or incapacitated, and the decision should have been taken by a vice president. Which vice president? Chiwenga, the very man whose influence in the military Mnangagwa is trying to destroy. So you see the problem. Delegating this decision to Chiwenga was never going to happen. So instead, they just did it anyway. Constitutionally wrong, politically calculated, done. Mure Zimbabwe, family, at this rate, as your boy in the video said, the family tree is going to be the only thing with stars on its shoulders. But the story does not stop with who gets promoted, because to fully understand what is happening, you also need to look at who gets demoted. And this part of the story is just as explosive. Keneo Miniotabu Mini Baloy, the wife of Vice President Constantino Chiwenga, has been removed from her position in the Zimbabwe National Army's Military Intelligence Directorate and reassigned to the Commander's Pool. Now, let me explain what the Commander's Pool is, because the name sounds harmless. The Commander's Pool is not a place for rising stars or strategic thinkers. It is a holding pen for the influential who have become inconvenient. Historically, it has served as a gilded purgatory where high-ranking officers are stripped of their operational command and left to wither in professional obscurity. Purgatory, that is the word. You are still technically in the army. You still collect your salary, but you have no power, no command, no access. You are frozen, professionally dead while still breathing. And why does this matter so much? Because of where Mini Baloy was working before, the Military Intelligence Directorate. By placing Baloy there, Mnangagwa has not merely moved a soldier. He has successfully amputated a vital limb of the vice president's situational awareness within the intelligence community. Think about what that means. Chiwenga, the man who ran the coup in 2017, who built his power on deep military intelligence networks, now has his own wife cut off from the very intelligence structures that feed information up the chain. He is being blinded, systematically, quietly, one personnel decision at a time. A removal reportedly followed the appointment of Tapfumane as commander of the ZNA, Zimbabwe National Army, who was reportedly tasked with strengthening safeguards against any potential coup targeting the commander-in-chief. Part of that assignment is believed to have included limiting Chiwenga's influence within the security sector. So now look at the full picture. Tapfumane Mnangagwa's intelligence loyalist parachuted to army commander. Sean Mnangagwa, the president's son, fast-tracked to Lieutenant Colonel in the presidential guard. Mini Baloy, Chiwenga's wife and intelligence insider, removed from military intelligence and packed in purgatory. All of this happening at the same time. All of this happening while Bill number 3 is being pushed through parliament. Tell me that is coincidence. Go ahead. Tell me, Mres Zimbabwe. Now, let us talk about what General Winston Mapuranga is bringing to this conversation. Because this retired Lieutenant General is not just complaining about promotions. He is diagonizing something much deeper. Something that should concern every Zimbabwean who cares about having a professional national defense force. He talks about the morale wound. And I want you to really sit with that concept. You see, a soldier on parade, boots polished until they shine like mirrors, back straight, eyes forward, saluting with precision. Everything looks fine. Everything looks professional and ordered and disciplined. And underneath all of that, there is a young captain who watched a political favorite jump over 20 years of faithful service. There is a major who knows that no matter how hard he works, no matter how many courses he completes, no matter how much he sacrifices, it will mean nothing if he does not have the right political connections. Even one of the newly promoted brigadier generals said it at his own ceremony. We do not take this promotion for granted, as we are aware that there were many other colonels who were competent and could have equally been promoted. So think about that. At his own promotion ceremony, a man is acknowledging that other people deserved it too. That is not humility. That is an institution quietly confessing its own dysfunction. This is how you destroy a professional army. Not with enemy fire, not with budget cuts. You destroy it by replacing meritocracy with loyalty, by making every soldier wonder whether the person giving them orders got there because of skill, or because of whose son they are, or whose political faction they belong to. When that trust breaks, you no longer have an army. You have an armed political faction wearing military uniforms. And General Winston Mapuranga is calling this what it is, a political hijacking of Zimbabwe's national defense. The institution that is supposed to save the constitution and the people is being rewired to save one man and his family. Zimbabwe, I need you to connect the dots here, because the army story and the Bill number 3 story are not two separate things. They are one story told through different chapters. Think about it logically. If you want to extend your time in power beyond what the Constitution allows, if you want to push Bill number 3 through despite war veterans, students, bishops, lawyers, civil society, the opposition, and even your own vice president saying no, what do you need? You need to know that the gun is on your side. You need to know that if things go wrong, if the streets get too loud, if the pressure gets too great, if someone inside the party tries to move against you, the military will protect you and not them. Within the presidential guard, a lieutenant colonel is more than just an administrator. They are the guardians of the presidency. Having a son in this role provides the president with a direct, blood-related bypass of the traditional chain of command. It ensures that at least one battalion of the most elite soldiers in the country is under the direct control of his own family. A blood-related bypass, his own son, in the unit that protects or removes the head of state, while he pushes an unconstitutional term extension, while he is shipping loyalists to the top of the command structure and packing his rivals' wives in professional purgatory. His appointment of Tapfumane is broadly interpreted as a continuation of Mnangagwa's strategy to secure unchallenged control of the security institutions ahead of potential turbulence within ZANU-PF. Turbulence. That is a polite word, Zimbabwe. We all know what turbulence means in Zimbabwean political language. It means the possibility of 2017 happening again, but in reverse. Mnangagwa knows better than anyone how coups work. He benefited from one, And now he is spending every political calculation he has, making sure he never becomes its victim. The army is not being resourced for national defense. It is being reconfigured as personal insurance. And my soldiers in those barracks, the ones who joined to save Zimbabwe, who believe in the uniform, who wake up every morning for their country, they are watching all of this, saying nothing publicly, but watching. And as General Mapranga says, the corridors are talking, the mess holes are talking. History shows us what happens when the rank and file stop believing in their leadership. History shows us what happens when moral wounds accumulate and reach a tipping point. And in Zimbabwe, that history is not ancient. It is 9 years old only. So, family, here is where we land. Here's the big question I want you to answer today. We have a retired general speaking publicly about the political hijacking of Zimbabwe's defense forces. We have a parachute promotion of an intelligence loyalist to army commander, a man on US sanctions list. We have the president's own son fast-tracked to a command role in the presidential guard, in a move a constitutional lawyer says is null and void. And we have the vice president's wife quietly removed from military intelligence and packed in a professional purgatory. All of this while Bill number 3 is being pushed through parliament. All of this while students are being abducted for saying no. All of this while the old guard are reportedly drawing up exit plans. All of this while the mess holes are talking. The question is the army still behind the president? Or are they standing at attention on the outside while their loyalty quietly erodes on the inside? Is this coup-proofing, or is it the kind of institutional overreach that creates the very instability it is trying to prevent? And here is the one that I think about the most. When Chiwenga rode those tanks in 2017, the soldiers followed him because they believed in what he said, because the institution begged the move. If Mnangagwa has replaced the institutional loyalty with personal loyalty, with family and intelligence loyalists and parachuted generals, what happens the day those personal loyalties are tested by something bigger than a promotion ceremony? I want to hear your thoughts. Drop them in the comments. Is the army still solid behind ED, or are the cracks already there? Do you think General Mapranga is a patriot speaking truth, or is it just another voice in the factional noise? Keep it real, family, keep it civil, and keep it loud, because Zimbabwe deserves a professional army that serves the constitution, not a presidential guard that serves one family. Share this video, because the more people who understand what is happening inside those barracks, the harder it is to keep doing it in the dark. This is your boy, fearless, free, pro-democracy, always. See you in the next one. Peace.